Hi everyone, welcome back to Storytime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the film from 2012, No One Leaves. Without any further, let's get started. While running through the woods at night, a girl screams for help, stepping on shattered glass with her bare feet. Yet she keeps running. She nearly makes it to the road before a rope snatches her leg and hangs her from a tree. She finds it difficult to carve Emma alive on the tree. The scene switches to a couple conversing in their car as they move to a new house, which Betty finds less thrilling, but her man seemed more upbeat about. They choose to stay at a motel en route. In their room, the couple watches the news, where Emma Ward is missing. Betty believes that the tree's carving was clever since it offered her an opportunity, and her partner assures her that there is always a chance. Later, when he asks her to remove her towel, he kisses the scar on her stomach. After apologizing for everything he did, Betty simply needs to hear that he loves her more than the other lady, and he will do it. He claims to have always done so, and they make love. The Cleavers, a wealthy family, arrive from vacation. While the robbers are looting their house, as the car draws closer, one of the robbers, Flynn, becomes frightened and begins firing at the father who is driving and calling the police. He then fires at the woman before being violently stopped by his partner. They abandon Flynn and declare him messed up.
You made a mess here, Flynn. Excuse me for saving.
When her boyfriend comes from somewhere in the motel, Betty informs him that she knows what he's doing, but she doesn't say anything. When he invites her to join him for dinner, the owner of the motel suggests that they travel to Helen's, which is a few miles away. When the pair enters and order wine, Betty remains resentful of the other woman. Earlier that day, the robbers who had taken from the Cleavers entered Helen's restaurant.
He's a total psychopath.
The group's leader, Hogue, is furious over Flynn's psychotic behavior, and the other members agree that he is a problem. He promises to make it up to them before Betty and her man catch his eye. He leaves the others to take a leak and sits right in the middle of Betty and her man. Initially, the couple kept their calm and didn't look for any problems. Flynn pulls on her man's strings though, holding Betty's hand and asking him what he's going to do about it. Betty sees her man grabbing for a knife and helps him calm down. Flynn continues until his pals interrupt and offer an apology to the couple on his behalf. On their way home, her guy gets attacked by a motorist, causing their car to crash into a tree. Flynn, the motorist, takes their vehicle and delivers it to Hogue as retaliation for the unsuccessful mission earlier that day.
After which,
he held the pair captive at the petrol station. However, Hogue is not impressed by kidnapping tourists and would rather Flynn keep his brother Ethan out of this. When her partner awakens, he finds his wife bound across from him, and Ethan emerges from behind her brandishing a sharp knife. Betty begins to apologize to her partner and inform him that she has made up her mind. Ethan tells her to stop talking as he presses the knife against her throat. She continues to tell her man that it's been a great experience, but she can't take it anymore. Meanwhile, after carefully going through the car and its contents, Flynn discovers a tiny hole where a girl is seen struggling. Back at the station, Betty slits her throat with the knife close to her neck in order to self-destruct. After he takes off his handcuffs, her man starts punching Ethan. He becomes enraged at seeing Betty dead and swings the knife at Ethan, killing him with the handcuff while remarking that zip ties would have been a better option. Back at Hogue House, they find the girl in the couple's van, where she fights them and tries to flee.
Hold still. All right.
After they stop her and compel her inside, she tells them to call the police before he comes for her, as he always does. Hogue insists on knowing the man's identity, but she says he has no name and will kill them all if they don't take action right away. They ignore her and concentrate on getting in touch with Ethan. When they don't, Hogue sends Denny and Tamara, two of his partners. Consequently, at the gas station, Denny trips and falls in Ethan's blood puddle. After that, they discover Betty's severed body. Hogue's daughter Amber is curious about the hostage girl and even asks her father to let her go. Before doing so, he wants to make sure that Ethan is still alive.
Maybe we should let her clean up.
The hostage girl keeps telling him he isn't. He tells her she doesn't know Ethan. She tells him she never will. Amber starts watching a crime documentary on television about a party at the end of the semester that resulted in the deaths of 14 students. Only one student, Emma Ward, the heir to a publishing empire, was never located. So, Whomever can get Emma back to her family will receive a $2 million
Any
reward.
information leading to the recovery.
Flynn is instantly intrigued, while the others are concerned about the madman who abducted her. When Amber tells her that they care about her, Emma spits in her face in anger since she believes they are just after the money. The two partners bring Ethan to Hogue, who's heartbroken by his brother's death.
Man who did this.
He gives them instructions to place him in the shed and clean up the mess, since he is too large for them to dig and bury. Following their departure from his body, it begins to move abruptly until it is discovered that Emma's kidnapper had been concealed inside Ethan's hefty body. Hogue questions Emma, demanding to know what exactly they're dealing with. She asks about Betty and panics when they tell her she's dead. She attacks Hogue and the others, nearly escaping, before they seize her with their guns. She doesn't care and is on the verge of leaving before spotting her captor near the house, covered in blood. She understands that her best chance is to watch him murder them all before going back inside. After taking a wash in the water, the kidnapper gets clothes and weapons from his car. Hogue gives his group instructions, but as soon as he leaves the house, an arrow is fired through his chest. Flint and Tamara shoot into the dark, but don't hit the man, so they retreat back. Denny is terrified because he's been shot and is bleeding profusely. Tamara won't be leaving without Hogue, but Flynn won't wait for the madman to shoot him. While they are arguing, their van explodes up and the house is engulfed in flames. When she says they are imprisoned inside, Flynn promises Emma that he won't die without her. Hogue hangs from the ceiling hovering over a crushing machine at the man mercy. He tells him his people will come find him and kill him.
Who knows, you might all be heroes.
Hogue is brought close enough to the machine to sustain facial injuries. The man even mockingly displays him his ear. When Hogue offers to bring him the girl, the man says he can do it himself. Hogue believes he is a serial killer, but the man claims he is a complete psychopath who enjoys the satisfaction of finishing a task. Despite Hogue pleading for his life, the man murders him. Back at the house, when Amber asks Emma if she wants to kill the man, she has a flashback of the time she was imprisoned in a cage by him. He explains to her that the hostages cannot live if the one who took them does not. After showing her how to save someone who is bleeding freely from dying, he stabs himself in the neck to test her ability to save his life. In the living room, Tamara is attempting to extend Denny's life. Amber is not amenable to Tamara's actions now that her father has passed away, which results in an altercation. When there is a knock on the door, they are all too afraid to look, so Amber bravely steps forward. When Amber looks through the door, she sees a bag hanging. Flynn chooses to open it, and after Amber notices her father's ring on the bag, Flynn strikes it violently, causing the organs to fall to the ground and everyone else to scream. Denny says to the others, "I can get the Jeep from outside and get them out of there." Amber accompanies him, and they get to the car. It doesn't work at first, but Denny fixes it as she keeps telling him to go back to the car with her. He nearly does. After coming up behind him, the man kills him viciously. As she flees from the Jeep, the man chases Amber into the woods and stabs her in the heart. In the last minute, when she asks the man why he's doing this to an innocent person, he responds that it keeps him in shape. When Tamara, Flynn, and Emma get there, Denny is lying in the Jeep. Later, Flynn discovers that he is still alive, but he attempts to kill him himself. Thankfully, Tamara stops him, and Denny is taken into the Jeep. As they drive off, they hit Amber with the Jeep and kill her. They leave Denny on a hospital floor and take off. A group of teenagers in a car approach the man as he is walking, assuming he has been in an accident. They offer to give him a ride, which he accepts with pleasure. When Flynn brings Tamara and Emma to the motel and uses the same credit card to pay the kidnapper, the owner becomes suspicious, so the owner quickly phones the local sheriff. Tamara showers in their room while Flynn improperly touches Emma. He thinks about doubling the money for finding her. Before he can do anything, she wants to go to the restroom, and Tamara gives her a gun to shoot Flynn with. After considering killing them both, Emma chooses to kill just Flynn. She has another flashback from the cage, this time showing the aftermath of the man cutting his throat. Emma saves his life, even though the cage wasn't locked and she would have freed herself.
You chose me.
After knocking on the door and Flynn unlocks it while threatening to kill Emma if she speaks, the sheriff asks for Flynn's identity. While she is still in the shower, the man enters the bathroom through the window and suffocates Tamara from behind. Flynn shoots the sheriff in the eye through the door. He then hurries Emma and Tamara to leave.
Let's go.
When she doesn't answer, they check the bathroom and discover her nearly dead, but Flynn shoots her out of terror. Following their departure, Flynn is ran over by the sheriff's vehicle, leaving just the man and Emma. She attempts to shoot him, but she completes her load before she can reach him. She starts running instead. As he chases after her, she stops at some point to tell him she's done running. Instead of running into his arms as he had expected, she beat him up in a way that satisfied him. He sees Flynn from behind her, holding a shotgun, and throws her away, getting shot at her place. However, because he is wearing a vest, he is protected. Despite being quickly disarmed, Flynn fights hard and eventually puts the gun back in the man's face. But this time, by striking Flynn in the face, Emma would save her kidnapper's life. She says she did it to prevent him from having the honor of killing him. Despite the man's attempts to persuade her that what they have is special, she presses the trigger, but the gun fails to fire. Taking his weapon, he stabs her in the abdomen. Removing the tracking device, he implants in her to release her. As he murders Flynn, the motel's owner, and even Denny in the hospital, he then whispers in his ears that no one lives. News reporters assemble outside the hospital as Emma receives treatment, and the man who abducted her smiles as he leaves. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.